Welcome to betyourskills.com. In this video, you will set your skills in Texas Hold'em Poker. It's a game where two or more players get involved. In this tutorial, we will demonstrate a 6-player poker game, the most popular form of poker game on internet. In each round, one player posts the small blind and adjacent player posts the big blind. These are compulsory bets placed in a game. The other 4 players can play for free. To make it fair, in the next round, a different player posts the small blind and a different player posts the big blind. There are 4 betting rounds in the game of poker. In the first round, called the Preflop Round, the player acting next to big blind position begins. There are 3 different options this player can take. He can call, which means putting in the big blind, or he can raise, which means putting in more money than the big blind. The last option is folding, which means you opt out of the game. The next player will also have the same options to call, raise, or fold. Once every player has contributed the same amount of money in the pot, the chips are moved to the middle of the table, and the second round, the flop round, begins. In this round, 3 community cards are dealt face up on the table. Every player can use his 2 private cards and 3 community cards to form a 5-card poker hand. Small blind player is the first to act. He can check, which means not betting anything, or he can bet by putting in some money in the pot that the other players will have to match if they want to stay in the game. The final option is to fold, which means you opt out of the game. Just like the pre-flop round, when a player has finished acting, the player to his left will act. For example, let's say the first player bets 10 chips. The next player can fold, which means opt out of the game, or he can call, which means matching the 10 chips bet, or he can raise, which means putting in more than 10 chips, such as 30 chips. Once every player in the game has contributed the same amount of money in the pot, the third round, the turn round, begins. One more community card will be dealt on the table, which means there are now 6 cards available to you, 2 cards in your hands and 4 cards on the table. You can use any 5 out of those 6 cards to form a 5-card poker hand. The third betting round is played the same way as the second betting round. Once every active player has contributed the same amount of chips in the turn round, we come to the last betting round, the river round. One more community card will be dealt face up on the table, which means there are now 7 cards available to you, 2 cards in your hand and 5 on the table. You can use any 5 out of 7 cards to form a 5-card poker hand. The fourth betting round is played the same way as second and third betting round. After the 4 rounds of betting, any player remaining has to show his cards in the showdown. Whoever has the best 5-card poker hand wins the pot. The rest lose. It's a winner-takes-all game, and that's why poker is exciting. It's a game of risk and return, and hence you should be careful with your betting decisions. Your decision to bet, call, raise, check, or fold should depend how strong your 5-card poker hand is. Now we will teach you how poker hands are ranked. There are 10 different categories of poker hands that are ranked in the following order. The weakest category is high cards, where your hands not even form a pair, as shown above. The next category is one pair, where there are 2 cards of the same rank in your hand, as shown with the pair of kings. The next category is 2 pair, where you have 2 pairs in your hand, as shown with the kings and 5s in this example. The next category is 3 of a kind, where there are 3 cards of the same rank in your hand, as shown with three-of-a-kind aces. The next category is straight, where you have 5 consecutive cards in your hands, such as Queen High Straight as shown on the screen. An ace can count as 1 or ace. So ace, 2, 3, 4, 5 is a straight. However, Queen, King, Ace, 2, 3 is not a straight. The next category is flush, where there are 5 cards of same suit in your hands as shown with the Ace High flush. The next category is full house, where you have a 3 of a kind and a pair in your hand as shown with queens full of nines. The next category is 4 of a kind, where you have 4 cards of the same rank in your hand, as shown with 4 of a kind tens. The next category is straight flush, where you have a straight and a flush in your hand, as shown with the 8 high straight flush. The ultimate hand of poker is the royal flush, where you have an ace high straight flush. If two hands are in same category, the one with a higher card wins. For example, ace, king, jack, 9, 8 beats ace, king, 10, 9, 8. Or ace, ace, 5, 5, 8 beats king, king, queen, queen, 9. Two pairs of aces and fives are better than the two pairs of kings and queens, as you only compare the higher pairs first. An 8, 9, 10, jack, queen beats 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, as you only compare the highest card. You should now have an overall understanding of the rules of Texas Hold'em. For advanced strategies of professional poker, we recommend you to attend our next video.